New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Thank you, Jay Silvers. Good evening, everyone. From across the United States and also around the world, it is time once again for another fun-filled, thrill-packed, and always guaranteed exciting edition of the Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am the Reverend Michael Mangus, and I'm broadcasting this evening from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands, and I mean thousands of watts in the extremely secure concrete bunker somewhere around Akron, Ohio. That is so top secret that only one person knows where I'm located. Everyone else, including and especially that Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski and also the Reverend Jeff Radcliff, they have no clue on where the top secret bunker is located, and we are going to keep it that way. Well, hi there. Good evening. We have a wonderful show for you this evening. Sorry that I was not with you last week. I was working the International New Thought Alliance Conference, providing video for them, and also being stuck in the airport. We'll talk about that in a few moments. But please feel free to interact. We are live this evening. So post your comments in Facebook and also on YouTube. And again, for my shy people out there, I know you're out there. You don't want to comment. You don't want to comment on the air. I got that. All you have to do is to go to this email address, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, and I will read that sometime during the week. So the purpose of our Fireside Chat is for everyone to get something, I was going to say alcoholic, but something warm to drink, something that we can all just kind of gather around the fireplace and just have a good fireside chat. So we want to talk about here on the show, the intention is to talk about contemporary issues from a spiritual / new thought perspective. And as I keep saying week after week, I want us all to have a new thought about what is going on in the world and how we can play our part in bringing about a world that does work for all. And once again, from the great state of Tennessee, along with Lily the Wonder Dog, ladies and gentlemen, presenting Divine Science Minister Jeff Radcliff. Jeff always has a comment or two on the news and how we can respond spiritually to all of this going on in the world. Reverend Jeff, how are you this evening?
We're doing okay. Today is a bittersweet day for Lily and I because today marks the first anniversary of the passing of Lily's big sister and my dog with my partner, Ivy Jane. She lived to
Oh,
be 17 though, so she had a nice long run. But you know, but otherwise, Lily said, "I want to get up and say hey to all the peoples." So, so wave at them, wave at everybody.
she said, no, I just want to just hide. Yeah.
You want to get down now? You'd be good.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah. Let me go eat some food or something.
for a Pomeranian, she's heavy. She's like 9 pounds.
Well, that's because you feed her lead.
Well, yeah. She's got to have a bite of just about everything that I have. So if it's dog friendly, she gets a taste of it, and if I haven't seasoned it, she gets a taste of it. But otherwise, she's stuck with her food. She
Okay,
likes.
hold on. We have a secret message from, I think, my boss, the Reverend Robert Brzezinski. He says, I know where you are. Or is that you?
No, that's not me.
Okay, that's probably Robert. Good evening, Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski.
Hey, Robert.
Wishing you and the viewers a wonderful live. Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
He's probably gone.
Hi, Jeff and Lily from your girlfriend.
I'm gonna divorce you one of these days. You are.
I don't know. Yeah, she may. I don't know.
You better treat her right. I don't know that you can do any better than Diana. She's like tops. There will never be anybody that you can find that could.
Wow. Hey, listen. Can I pay you for that later?
Yeah, sure. Just don't tell her. Just don't tell her.
Okay, Jeff.
Okay.
Nothing much has happened in the past 2 weeks.
No.
Huh.
I don't even know why we're doing this. I mean, there's just like nothing going on.
Okay. So since we last talked,
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt while campaigning in Butler, Pennsylvania, which is 2 hours away from me. The current U.S. President, Joe Biden, has stepped aside for the Democratic nomination in favor of his vice president, Kamala Harris. CrowdStrike's update of its Windows systems caused a massive disruption in the airlines and also banking and other businesses that use Microsoft 365 products. And yours truly got caught in that.
You're not the only one I know who got caught in that. I have a friend on the International New Thought Alliance board who was 2 days trying to get back home to Florida.
So, who was it? First name? What was her? Who now?
Reverend.
Oh, Reverend.
Yes. That's her first
That
name.
could be anyone. Okay. Would you like to hear my 24 hours of?
It's going to pale in comparison.
Strike?
It's going to pale in comparison to her story. But yeah, go ahead. What the heck? I'm feeling generous tonight.
Okay, so I go ahead and I get to Kansas City Airport, which is its designation is MCI. Mm-hmm. So I get there.
Well, you should have known that you're not going to sprint out of there. That was a good one.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway.
All right. So I get to Kansas City Airport, and that my plane was still on time on my app. Mm-hmm. And then it got pushed to 6, and then it got pushed to 8, and then it got pushed to 10:30. And then I did not get into ATL until 2:00 in the morning.
Ooh.
And I missed my connecting flight, of which in the process of everything got canceled. So here
how can you miss a flight that gets canceled?
No, whatever. But my
See,
connecting
you're
flight got
making this
canceled.
up as you go along, and you're failing miserably. Trump should dump Vance and get you for a running mate.
No,
you don't know.
We're gonna talk. Listen, we're gonna talk about that here in a moment.
Okay, so
because he represents our great state of Ohio. Anyhow,
I'll tell you who he doesn't represent.
Oh, you mean down there in Tennessee?
Well, I don't live
or Appalachia
anymore, but I was born and raised, and I can spot one of us a mile away, and he ain't it. But that's beside the point. Okay. Let's go on with your story.
All right. So then I go into the airport, and this guy bumps into me. And it's like, I said, dude, what are you doing bumping into me? This has been a long day for all of. And I started getting it. I said, no. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to go sit my butt down. And then what I'm going to do then is I am going to then get on the phone with Delta and get a connecting flight back home.
Okay.
So 3 hours later, I finally get an agent on the chat. So I was on the chat and the telephone. And I said, whoever gets me first wins. So the gentleman, wonderful agent, got me on a flight in the afternoon back to CLE, Cleveland Hopkins Airport. So that's how I got home. But my bag didn't. So what happened is my bag ended up getting finally delivered on Tuesday. And at least I got my bag back. So that was my my 24 hours in Atlanta, getting to Atlanta and then home. So hold it. We have more news here. If that wasn't enough, then the 2024 Olympics got off to a rough start here with attacks on the French railways.
I saw that.
I can't make this stuff up. So, and guess who's getting right back on Delta to go back to Kansas City on Wednesday for celebrating our souls?
President of Southwest Airlines.
Oh, we're going to talk. No.
That's my guess.
No, we're going to talk about the president of Delta here in just a moment.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh. Remember, you are a minister. Some words you probably ought not say.
Yeah. Oh, some words. Okay. You mean home office may be listening?
Yeah. he may still be there.
All right. Let's start here. The vice president's campaign here. News from that. Netanyahu in the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Thursday, saying afterwards that she urged the Israeli leader to get a Gaza ceasefire deal done. And today, Donald Trump met with Netanyahu at Mar-a-Lago and more than likely told him not to and to wait until he got into office.
Well,
I'm just saying. I'm speculating.
What happens when hell freezes over and Trump is still out of the White House?
Okay, hold on here. We have an emergency we have an emergency announcement here. Careful, you need to fly on Wednesday. From the Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski. Good news, though, today, former President Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle, joined other Democratic leaders in endorsing Harris in the 2024 race. Harris on Thursday says she's ready to debate Trump. And earlier this week, the former president has said that he absolutely wants to debate Harris. And Fox News has proposed a debate between Trump and Harris on September 17th in Pennsylvania. Well, I thought they had one earlier on ABC on the 10th.
They're supposed to.
Okay. And also, Democrats on Wednesday adopted rules for a likely Harris nomination, with voting expected to begin on August 1st. Vetting is underway for Harris's running mate, with the goal to announce the pick before August 7th, sources say. So what is your opinion, vibe about this change here?
Well, I have my druthers when it comes to who I would like to see her choose to be her running mate. Although the last news report I saw said that she was leaning very heavy, or she was looking very closely at Mark Kelly of Arizona.
Okay.
It would be good. He's former military. He's a former astronaut. He's got some good ideas when it comes to border security. And I think that would be what drives her to pick him. Okay. Don't know all that much about Roy Cooper of North Carolina. But he's, from what I understand, when he started in politics in the mid 80s, he's not lost an election. And so, that's good juju right there.
Well, I like that.
Yeah. I like Andy Beshear of Kentucky because he is, he's won twice as a Democrat in a red state. So he's got something going there. My preference is Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Pennsylvania comes with a lot of electoral votes, and I think that Shapiro can deliver those. So that's my thinking behind it. I'm just glad that I'm not her to have to make a decision. I know that she's surrounded by some pretty intelligent people who can give her the pros and cons of each one and help her to make the best decision for the country. So whoever she ends up selecting, I'm going to back her all the way. So.
All right. I had some dread going up to last weekend and no sleep during my first all-nighter in a long time. Didn't help. But Sunday, I just felt a deep peace about everything, that somehow or another, it's all going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Somehow or another. Even if 45 gets back into office, which I don't think he will. But again, that's why myself and Jeff and my other friends, family, and also colleagues here on the New Thought Media Network are sharing with you that we encourage you to go register to vote and to go vote. When was the last time you checked your registration? I know here in Ohio that they went ahead and they got rid of registered voters because they haven't voted in a while. So make sure that you are registered to vote. And again, you can just go online and then go vote, go vote, go vote. And this is all going to turn out here.
It will. It is all in divine order. We just have to trust the process. Our process is really pretty simple. We we speak our word into the law of mind action, what we desire, and then we get ourselves out of the way and let Spirit do the work. Now, to piggyback on what Ernest Holmes said, he said that there was a power in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it. Well, see, the thing of it is that infinite omnipresence knows so much more than we in our finite human capabilities. That's why, even though I can say I would rather this one over that one, all I have to do is just imagine and to visualize and to affirm that peace is in this, that the process of selecting the right person is in the works, and then get back and let God do the rest.
Yes.
Because that knowingness, that omnipresence that is also omniscience itself, knows a lot more than the rest of us do. And if we are affirming for the highest and best for our country, then the highest and best is what we will get.
And the biography the biography about divine science, one of the divine science founders, Nona Brooks, of which you recommended. I've been reading that, and that it's interesting to me that their form of treatment was really just to know the omnipresence of God and to know the truth. That's all that they did. It may have been repeating one or two affirmations, but that's how they, back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, got tremendous healings that way. So, yeah, and that's what I did on Saturday morning is taking that deep breath and just knowing the omnipresence of God and then getting through. So
I kind of liken it to the scripture where Master Teacher Jesus talked about that there were two great commandments. One was to love God and to love your neighbor. And if you do those two things, all the other commandments, and he's talking the Mosaic law, which there's a boatload of, not just 10 like most people think. There's a boatload of of Mosaic commandments. All of those would be fulfilled if we just love God and love our neighbor. Well, when it comes not only to divine science, but to New Thought in general, our whole beingness, our whole movement was based on the fact that God is all there is. Everything that we could ever need is included in that omnipresence. There's nothing that can take, can step up onto the platform with God. There's no room because God is all there is. That means that God has all the power. That means God has all the knowledge. So we just got to trust that Spirit, being what it is, has got our best interest in mind because it contains anything and everything that we could ever imagine for ourselves as good.
Well, if you wondered what you stumbled onto this evening, this is the Friday evening fireside chat with Reverend Michael Mangus, along with the Reverend Jeff Radcliff, and we're talking about the news. Well, let's
stop. Just a minute. I have to mention this. I do not know this lady personally. I know of her. I know who she is. Hi, Dr. Melissa. And I short lessons in divine science. She posted that was how she loves it. That's my favorite Nona Brooks offering right there. So hi,
Dr. Melissa, how are you this evening? Well, I'll get to see you in October. Yes.
Look for me on Facebook.
I love short lessons in divine science. Yes.
That's an
absolutely.
Awesome That's an
all
awesome
right.
book. So
all right.
Moving on.
Okay. All right. Can I go on?
Sure.
Oh, hold it. We have a special message. Hello. Hi, Michael. Well, hi, Dr. Melissa. How are you? let's go back to the
Sorry,
news.
I was fangirling. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. You're allowed. Okay. Well, just hours before the Summer Olympic Games torch relay concluded with Snoop Dogg and the opening ceremonies began in Paris today, France's high-speed train lines were targeted by malicious acts, including arson, in which what has been described as coordinated sabotage to disrupt travel. And organizers say that the show must go on, and it did. They had performances from Lady Gaga, heavy metal band Gojira. Oh, they rock. The bells of Notre Dame, and also nods to France's revolutionary past have all been featured in the display. Now, meanwhile, the Parade of Nations took place outside a stadium for the first time, with boats carrying athletes through the center of Paris. And the last time that Paris hosted the games was 100 years ago in 1924. The organizers estimated a crowd size would surpass 320,000 spectators. And also they had A-list individuals there. I didn't get invited this time. Jeff, did you?
No.
Well, I thought we were on the A list.
Was empty. Apparently not. And it would have been really cool to be there, because to watch the Parade of Nations go down the Seine, I mean, how cool is that?
How cool is that?
The only thing that would have beat that would be going to Tahiti to watch them surf.
Is that where they're having the surfing competition?
10,000 miles away.
Oh, how cool is that?
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, anyhow, attendance capacity at the opening ceremony was slashed over security concerns. FBI says investigators are, yes. So that's the reason why. All right. I know. There you go. This happened really close to home. And so, I know where the Butler Fairgrounds is located. It's right on Route 422 right outside of Butler. The FBI said on Thursday that investigators continued to examine the bullet fragments and other evidence in the attack on Donald Trump. Later today, the latest news from the FBI was that, yes, a bullet did strike the former president's ear. And again, it says here that since the day of the attack, the FBI has been consistent and clear that the shooting was an attempted assassination on the former president, which resulted in his injury, as well as the death of a heroic father and injuries to several other victims, the agency said in a statement. And the FBI says it is devoting enormous resources to its ongoing investigation of this attack, and its shooting reconstruction team continues to examine evidence from the scene, including coming to the conclusion this afternoon that a bullet actually did hit former President Trump's ear, and it wasn't a piece of shrapnel or glass. The FBI is also seeking to interview Trump to obtain a victim statement, which is a standard part of the investigation since he is the victim of the crime, according to a U.S. official. The Bureau issued a statement in response to questions about the FBI Director Christopher Wray's testimony on Capitol Hill on Wednesday about the shooting, in which he says that there was still some question about whether Trump was hit with a bullet or shrapnel. And again, he said, as I said, I think with respect to former President Trump, there was some question. And the Republicans, including the former president, have seized on the statement to raise questions about Wray's leadership in the agency. House Speaker Mike Johnson also expressed skepticism of the FBI's director's testimony. Also, despite later criticism from Republicans about the FBI's pending conclusions about the nature of the projectile, Ray was commended by representatives on both sides of the aisle for offering new insights into the details about the investigation into the gunman. Those bipartisan expressions of appreciation, which are extremely rare these days, stood in stark contrast to earlier testimony by then Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatley, who resigned on Tuesday after Democrats and Republicans accused her of stonewalling them and demanded her ouster. And that's exactly what happened. So individuals that I know were saying stuff like on after the shooting. Now, I do not like Trump at all. I think, if you watch the Friday evening fireside chat and the over 200 hours I've done of broadcasting here, you will know that I am not a big fan of Donald Trump. However, this assassination attempt I can see why someone would want to do it. But again, I am calling for, as well as other people calling for, peace here. I don't like the man, but I don't want to see him dead. Your comments, Reverend Jeff Radcliff.
I agree with you. I'm not his biggest fan either. I want to be careful. I may not like him, but that does not mean that I can't see the God in him. I can see spirit in him, and we are called to love.
Yes.
And we were instructed, love your neighbor. Thankfully, there's nothing that says, but you have to like them too.
Absolutely.
So there's that. I know that it's not appropriate, some of the things that I have heard people say about him, and how, I've heard everything from from the right side saying that it was a conspiracy to a Democratic conspiracy to try to murder him. I've also heard people on the left say things like, well, it's too bad the guy missed, things of that nature. And I'm like, this is what keeps us from being the United States.
Yes.
We're so divided right now, and nobody wants to give in a little. Nobody wants to compromise. Everybody has to be right. And that's not getting us anywhere.
Yes, I was, my prayers went out to former President Trump and also to the brave firefighter, unfortunately, who died, and also the two other victims of the shooter. And it's just, again, not only can't we get along, but let's put the emphasis on getting out the vote. That needs to be the emphasis, not shooting candidates, but getting out the vote. Go ahead, Jeff.
I find it, though, a lot of people on the right side of the aisle saying things like, well, if it had been Biden, you would be all up in arms over it. But since it's Trump, he's dispensable and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm like, no, it's not that at all. You have to, it is said that those who live by the sword die by the sword.
Mm-hmm.
We have a former presidential and now current candidate who has blown dog whistles to signal for violence from his followers. Is it a wonder with that kind of consciousness that he would not get something back at him?
Well, yeah, and I think we have to be extremely careful about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's not. Again, yes, I agree with you, and that I think that you know there. I don't want to go, that kind of, again, that
Yeah, but
law
that
of
brings
cause and
us back
effect.
to
I can see your viewpoint on that, and that I caution. I think that again, we just need peace here.
yeah,
Yeah,
um,
go
yeah,
ahead.
and it would be helpful if we didn't have each side, poking each other with a stick, because
Right.
that's what's happening.
That's
Um, and I'm seeing this ugliness turn toward Kamala Harris. The things that and it's gotten progressively worse over the past couple of days. I expected to see some racist comments. I expected to see some misogynistic comments, but then there is the sexual shaming that people are trying to do, because because of having a past relationship with somebody a higher up in. I just don't get it. I don't understand why these what we're seeing is a wrong vibe here. Tesla said that the universe doesn't understand language; it speaks in terms of frequency and vibration.
frequency, yes, and vibration.
And so we're seeing feelings of hatred, feelings of discord. There's a lot of hurt people out there, and hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I can think of, which is making turning this into a whole us against them type thing.
I really don't want to get into that. We have some comments here from Reverend Dr. Melissa Higginbotham. She says, thoughts and feelings of violence within ourselves is the frequency of war. We must focus on divine order. The ministry of presence and being is to be with the witness state within. Yes. And that was also echoed by Jeff's girlfriend, Diana Mangus. She says, well said, Melissa.
You.
Anyhow, well, listen, let's take a quick break, and then we'll be right back here. Just want to let everyone know that you're watching the Fireside Chat here on New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Michael Mangus, and just to remind you that this Sunday we will have a great program at Summit Center for Spiritual Living. If you'd like more information about our Sunday service, again, 10:30 online Eastern Time. And this Sunday, we will have as a special speaker our music director, the Reverend John Miller. So go to that web address, summitcsl.org, for more information on how to join our Zoom call. And our service is also simulcast on the Summit Spiritual Center of Akron Facebook page. And also all the broadcasts that we do, that I broadcast on New Thought Media Network, are archived on the New Thought Media Network YouTube page. All right. Again, thank you for joining us this evening. We have quite a few people watching this evening. If you could, please feel free to enter into the conversation in the comments. So you are watching this evening the Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network.
People of African Descent New Thought Group proudly presents Celebrating Our Soul, Consciously Creating Change at Unity Village. Thursday, August 1st through Sunday, August 4th. Some of our greatest keynote speakers, some of our finest musicians and vocalists, some of our amazing and experienced panelists, and some of our fabulous masterclass presenters will be there for you at Celebrating Our Soul, Consciously Creating Change at Unity Village this summer. Regular registration ends June 30th, so don't delay. Register today at padntg.com. Sponsorship opportunities are available at padntg.com. Volunteer opportunities are available at padntg.com. Go there now, padntg.com. See you there.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
With my very special guest, as always, the Reverend Jeff Radcliff. Well, listen, the legal department makes me play that.
But you're right, always. You've never been wrong. I mean, even
Never?
I can own up that, well, I thought I was wrong once, but I was mistaken. Okay?
No, now hold it. Now, Jay Silver's my friend. He said generally right.
Yes, that's true. He did, didn't he?
Yeah, it's not always right, but generally right.
Loophole. Okay, you got me on that one.
All right. So here he is.
Okay.
Delta's CEO is off to Paris while his airline struggles to recover from massive meltdown. I hope I pronounce his name right. Delta CEO Ed Bastian arrived in Paris on Wednesday morning for the opening of the Olympics as his airline struggled to recover from a 5-day meltdown that left an estimated 500,000 customers stranded by thousands of flight cancellations, including yours truly. And after a global tech outage that started Friday, it forced Delta to cancel nearly 8,000 flights over the past several days. The company says it expects minimal cancellations and also normal service today, but it still could be days until all of the Delta passengers whose flights were canceled will be able to make it to their destinations, given the busy summer travel season and the lack of available seats on many flights. The company has also been unable to reunite many customers with their luggage. Well, they did a good job with me. It took them a couple of days.
There you go. Now, I didn't follow this story as closely as I could have, but weren't there more airlines involved than just Delta?
Yes. No, that's Ed Bastian. That's and then there is me at ATL. Yes, there were other airlines. I think American and also United were also involved in it. However, what happened with Delta is it completely messed up their crew schedules, their positioning of planes. They had to put together crews at the last minute from different. They usually put crews in several different places that they're based out of. So the flight that I got or had 1660 from Kansas City to Atlanta, they had people from 4 different hubs, and they have to have a minimum of 4 crew. I don't know if that's an FAA requirement or not, or maybe even a Delta requirement, but it was really, it's the lack of crews and also the lack of the positioning of planes. Well, anyhow, meanwhile, Bastian traveled to Paris for the Olympics, where Delta is a sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team.
Which airline did he fly on, though?
He
We know
flew
that
on,
he
he
flew on
flew on
Delta?
Delta, and he did not fly private. He flew in first class,
Of course.
over to using in Delta, on Delta. From a statement from Delta to CNN, it says Ed delayed this long planned business trip until he was confident the airline was firmly on the path to recovery. As of Wednesday morning, the Delta operations were returning to normal. Ed remains fully engaged with senior operations leaders. Bastien flew to Paris on a Delta commercial flight, not a private jet, the airline said. And as the official airlines of the U.S. Olympic teams, the company is flying athletes, coaches, and other support staff to Paris. And most CEOs of Olympic sponsors will probably be attending at least part of the Olympics. But though those other CEOs have not had customer service problems over the past week that Delta has suffered. However, the union attempting to organize Delta's flight attendants slammed the CEO for taking a first-class seat to Paris instead of taking ownership for the massive meltdown. The Delta Association of Flight Attendants, CWA, wrote this. He says, while Ed was flying to Paris last night, crews were sleeping in airports across the country. Flight attendants are expected an apology and accountability. Paris is a major European destination for the airlines, although there will be thousands of Americans traveling to Paris to watch the games. Bastien told CNBC in an interview earlier this month that Delta is counterintuitively likely to lose business because of the games. Many travelers are staying away from Paris if they were not planning to watch the Olympics, so travel volume is less than they would have likely been without the event. And Bastien estimates that the Olympics will cost Delta around $100 million in lost revenue. Unless you're going to the Olympics, people aren't going to Paris. Very few are. Bastien told CNBC, business travel, other types of tourism is possibly going elsewhere. Now, if I was the CEO of Delta, I'm just saying that I would have been in the airport helping. Not in my office, not planning on going to Paris, but being a proactive leader and assisting the extremely overworked individuals that I saw at ATL, that I saw on the flights, and that I made it a conscious decision that I was going to be extremely kind to whoever that I got on the phone from Delta, rather than yelling at them, is to just understand that, again, that oneness type thing, So, I was talking to myself on the other end of the phone. So I made it a point to just be extremely nice and kind. And I think that's one of the reasons I got back to Ohio on Saturday instead of Sunday or Monday. Your comments, Reverend Jeff Radcliff.
I don't know that I have any. You've rendered me speechless.
Oh,
enjoy it while it lasts. It doesn't happen often.
Well,
but I agree with you. I'm sure that somewhere in the sponsorship, he was expected to put in an appearance in Paris. On the other hand, given the circumstances of the past few days, I think that he probably could have gotten out of that. And I think you're right. It would have been a good show had he been there at an airport trying to do something other than whatever it is he usually does. But I can't second guess him, so I'm not going to.
The lines were unbelievably long. I mean, 200 to 300 people stretching like a tenth of a mile down the corridor in the terminal. So it was,
and it's Atlanta anyway. I mean, and Atlanta is the busiest airport in the world, so
right.
it kind of sort of makes sense.
And if you know what, if you're going to get stuck anywhere, Atlanta is a great airport to get stuck because they have great food there. Expensive, but it's great food and great shopping. If you like to shop, just a great place. But again, I said before I partake in anything, I've got to find an exit plan because I'm not going to be stuck in the airport here.
Yeah.
All right. Since we're almost out of time, I do have one more story,
Okay.
which I found. I always look at the Religion News Service. Kamala Harris's multi-religious identity is a map for the future. President Joe Biden made history on Sunday by withdrawing his candidacy for a second term. The reconfigured Democratic presidential ticket he endorsed with Vice President Kamala Harris at the top would be historic in itself, but also would be a map of America's future. If nominated by her party in the coming days, it appears more certain that Democratic leaders will coalesce around her. Harris will be the first Black woman to be nominated by a major party for president and the first South Asian. She also has a diverse personal, religious, and spiritual history that is far more representative of America's multi-faith makeup. Raised Hindu by her mother, who was a native of India, she was often taken as a girl to the 23rd Avenue Church of God in Oakland, California, by her neighbor, along with Harris's sister, Maya. As an adult, Harris joined a Black Baptist church, Third Baptist Church of San Francisco, led by the Reverend Amos Brown. Meanwhile, the man who would become Harris's husband, Los Angeles lawyer Doug Emhoff, grew up in New Jersey. Not New Jersey, it's New Jersey, attending a Reformed synagogue there. Harris's faith connections have frequently played themselves out in her past 4 years in office, as the second couple inaugurated a tradition of lighting Hanukkah candles at their residence, as well as celebrating Diwali, which is the Hindu festival of lights, which is usually held in late September, early October. Every past U.S. president has identified as Christian, and that will not change if Harris is elected in November. But if she runs for president, which she is, her religious biography will not only be history-making, but will also connect her to how many Americans practice and encounter different faiths. She represents a lot of Americans' religious story because here's the thing. Nobody grows up in a straight line with religion in America anymore, says Anthea Butler, who's the professor of religion at the University of Pennsylvania. Few younger Americans, Butler has said, have only one religious lineage that they carry on from their parents. Increasingly, Americans choose a different religious identity for themselves and may change course again as they intermarry and interact with and support a partner of different faith. So what do you think, Jeff?
Well, it's going to be difficult, I think, for some of the Christian nationalists if she is elected, considering her religious background, her mother being from India, and I think I'm surprised that has not come up more often.
Well,
And
you know what's come up? Yeah, you know what's come up is J.D. Vance's wife, who's Indian.
Yeah, that is even more of a surprise. that I can't imagine their side going for that, because she is practicing Hindu, and the children are being brought up as both Catholic, and they're also taking Hindu instruction as well, as I understand it. So yeah, that really puts the Christian nationalists on the horns of a dilemma.
Yes.
But when you look at our country and you see, we were made as a melting pot. We were expected to have people from all over the world who had different ideas and different religions and different, everything to come together to find the best everyone had to offer to make our country stronger. So I think it's fascinating, and I think it's pretty terrific. I'm not a big fan of J.D. Vance.
Who's from Ohio? I'm sorry.
The one thing I am not going to fault him on is his choice of spouse. Can't do it. Not no.
Well, of course, Reverend Dr. Melissa always has a good word to say. She says, as we watch the news, just say, "Isn't that interesting?" That puts you into witness state, and from there you can bless and call divine order, etc. And also, Reverend Dr. Melissa said this. She says, CEOs are used to maximize shareholder value, not customer service.
That explains why dude wasn't there in Atlanta helping you out, right?
Well, again, the gentleman I got from customer service was excellent. He stayed on the chat with me until I got my boarding pass to make sure that I was going to get on that afternoon flight. Once again, the spiritual leader of Summit CSL says it's great that a candidate for president has such a diverse spiritual background.
And yes, and I agree with that. We are electing someone who is going to be president of the entire country, not just a certain segment of it.
Right.
That people would try to limit that to their own special interest it's just totally against what the country's the founding principles were in the first place.
Right. And again, this was not founded to be a Christian nation. Again, the founders were deists. So again, it's that allowed individuals to come and to worship from around the world, especially from Europe, where there was religious persecution. So, see, and that's the reason I shake my head when I hear about the Christian nationalists, is because what form of Christianity is going to be allowed? I mean, there's thousands of different denominations. Yeah. So what form of Christianity is going to be the one that is the one that's taught in public schools, which is another story, which I didn't get to tonight, and also that's considered mainstream. So,
yeah, it's in a lot of ways. Some of what I see, we've painted ourselves into a corner, but there's always a way out. There's always a way out. And it comes from being open to the diversity. There is one thing going on, and that is spirit. But each of us are an emanation of that. We are an expression of it. And you will be very hard pressed to find anybody, even identical twins, who express their divinity in exactly the same way. So folks need to really get past this aversion to diversity.
Yes. Well, we're not going to, there was another, well, we're not going to go there this evening. That, this is a DEI candidate, which is, Yeah. We're not going to go there. And that's from J.D. Vance from Ohio. Yeah. You're not going to believe this, Jeff.
We're out of time.
We're out of time.
Again.
Well, again, I really liked what Reverend Dr. Melissa said this evening. Again, that on the news is to say, isn't that interesting? That's a good way of looking at the news. And I would also echo that again, that please do not put on or keep on CNN all day long or MSNBC or any one of the news networks. Is that again and watch our wonderful program on Friday evenings called And Now the Good News, in which there is wonderful things going on in the world. But again, it's what we focus on that's important. Reverend Jeff, again, thank you so very much.
Thank
for being
you
with us this evening.
Here with you.
Thank you. And we're all out of time here. So again, thank you so very much for joining us this evening. Thank you for the people who are watching this evening. And again, we appreciate each and every one of you for being here on the network. Again, that this is a program that does not shy away from the news, but what we do is we go ahead and we look at it and we say, okay, how can we be a person of light in a seemingly dark world? But again, that what I believe that's going on again is a transformation of the whole world. And we, as people who are spiritually aware, that we're witnessing and being a part of that transformation. And that's what excites me. All right, time for us to get out of here. Again, thank you so very much for being with us. Join us again here next week, in which I'll probably have a best of. But again, thank you so very much. Thank you to Reverend Jeff Radcliff and to all of you for watching this evening. This is Reverend Michael Mangus, and I'm going to wish all of you a very pleasant good night and a great week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.